Hello my friends and welcome to monthlies. This is going from July 23rd to August 22nd. And just quick note, thank you everybody for helping, sharing, subscribing, liking. I appreciate a lot. 10,000 is a really cool thing to be at just in less than 5 months. So quick announcement, we only have one special this month, which is your expert. So if you want it, check it on my website. Love you. Hi Aries, and welcome to your monthlies. So I'm doing something a little bit different this time around. I'm starting with oracle cards to kind of like set the stage to see what we can expect from the reading. So it is kind of really interesting because kind of like two cards overlap with Aquarius. So I'm just trying to think if there is like some kind of collective time for us to kind of like release and kind of like put an end and kind of like collectively stop being victims. And that's sort of like the times we live in, right? And kind of like release and get a grip, basically, right? So let's start basically with this basically earth magic kind of set, because you're getting this really powerful card, Gaia, right? I don't know if you can see here, I'll put it closer. It's basically the Mother Earth, Earth Mother, Great Mother, Terra Mother, right? Or Gaia. It kind of has different names. So in basically with Greeks, this was like the Earth was personified as a goddess, right? So she was a daughter of chaos, and she was the mother and wife of Uranus, which is heaven, which is God, right? So it is basically her body that we walk upon every day. It is like her food that we actually eat every day, and she's the one who is nurturing us. So when you kind of receive this card, it is basically a really holy card, like you're talking to a mother of the god or a god. So this means that you have to pay attention to receive nurturing, and that nurturing has to be given to you, because we generally nurture others, but we really don't get it as much. So it could be that you guys had childhood conditioning and that you actually have a habit of how you do things. So this is now calling for you to kind of like, you know, heal any wounds, heal any programming, and really see if it's working for you. If you don't like horror movies, well, just why don't you change the channel, sort of a thing, right? So allow yourself introspection, allow yourself to be nurtured, and also allow others to nurture you. That's a toughie, right? I think the best way to go about it is considering the actions that you take and make sure they are self-nurturing. What comes to your mind when you really think about doing great things for yourself, right? Are you really even aware of the fact that you should do that? Because we buy gifts for the others, but how often do you do that for yourself? So this is basically asking, you know, to put any rituals that you have so far developed aside and allow your body, heart, and soul to be nurtured. So this is also asking to kind of connect to the planet. Just go out, take your socks off, just stand on the grass, feel the planet, touch basically flowers, smell flowers, just enjoy and relax into kind of like this love. Now it is kind of really interesting with these other two cards, right? So it says nurture yourself, feed yourself. So almost like you're the flower that has been forgotten to be watered. So you need to kind of do this nurturing. You need to kind of like put this extra food, extra water on this flower. So make sure that you're doing this month. And with all this newfound knowledge, when you figure out what works, what doesn't work, put things in perspective. Isn't this great? Milky Way perspective. You think this is Earth? No, it isn't. This is our galaxy. So where do you think we are in this perspective? How is it really important for us and our problems? Is it really, even if we are in the worst possible pain? I know kind of like it matters, because somebody said Once when I threw a little crab that kind of like crawl out on the shore, I threw him out, you know, in the ocean. And the guy goes, oh, you cannot save them all, right? So why the heck are you wasting your time? Well, I said, it kind of matters to that crab. That's all it matters, right? So this is kind of putting in perspective what is really important. And are we going to neglect small things because people are telling us it's not important? Hi, Savvy. Hi, Savvy. You like Aries? You like Aries? What are you doing? Are you messing everything up? There you go. You got the Safi visit. So what is really that we need to kind of like look at? Like, are we getting self-involved with little kind of petty things? Are we spiraling down because of it? It's kind of like asking you to kind of like get to this kind of like cleanse and see where, you know, you want to go, and then release. And so whatever doesn't work, whatever programming doesn't work, it is really time to let go, right? So if you look at this fall kind of picture, right? So we know the nature has its own time, right? So trees prepare for the winter and they conserve their energy, right? And they kind of contract that life force. We are forgetting to be in touch with the nature, so everything opens and closes. And we somehow expect from ourselves to be continuously open and vibrant and happy. So this is reminding us what is true. This is removing the programming. Just look at these remarkable trees, right? This is like very close to your Mother Earth nurturing, right? So even though kind of like this seasonal shift that appears kind of signifies a death, just like the death card in tarot, it also means something has to die for something else to start, and it's going to continue and continue. So this would probably say, given that this is the last card that just jumped out, is that you need to conserve your energy by allowing yourself more rest, and at the same time kind of like make preparations for like being revitalized again, right? I would really look especially at your material possessions and kind of be brutally honest with yourself to see what you're keeping, what you're not keeping, right? This is again additional stuff, especially the small items. They accumulate so much negative energy. I mean, look at my table. I really have to clean this. It's like everything is here. But when you have a clearance and when you just have only this that I'm zooming onto it, it just like feels so much cleaner. This is asking for you to kind of let go, but also consider shedding relationships that have served a purpose and no longer viable, right? As well as work or a job that you don't have any passion for anymore, right? So when you release, then you become free and you just kind of like get this sense of being much lighter, just like the trees that kind of like show basically their nakedness, right? Also what I like is like this little kind of wedge on this kind of like picture. So you have this opening, let go of everything that basically you outlived and trust that something else will basically take its place. Now it's really interesting because here, as I pointed out to you, there's like this opening, which in this card it also showed, right? We are tearing, we are getting into this kind of like awareness state, right? So here what we see is sort of like the veil of illusion or Maya that is actually keeping you from perceiving reality. So very much like, you know, this perspective, what is working for you, what doesn't work for you. So I think, you know, here is this burn in this veil. If you see, like you're kind of like trying and see, hi Shabby. She says, love Aries? How much? You love Aries? Now you're being rude. You're just on a table and you're not expressing your love. Huh? Yes. So guys, look. That is kind of being burned out. So this is just like that nurturing, getting a perspective, releasing. You're leaving behind those shadows, right? So this dissolution is taking place. So let yourself settle and remember that deep inside of you, you're just a witness of what's going around you, right? And who you are is staying unchanged, right? So you're the center of activity of everything that you're really witnessing. So the veil is lifted. I think this is sort of like a major theme that I'm actually seeing right now with the signs that I've seen so far. It is like some kind of awakening that is happening, right? Because this is talking about inner knowledge, right? That about what is mind and no mind, right? So when you consciously think and we consider that intelligence, is actually quite the opposite when we don't think this is intelligence, because that's why only when you're a child you can test your intelligence. Everything else is acquired knowledge, right? So this is basically talking that memories of the past kind of suppress us. We are kind of also burdened with projections of the future. We must do that. I must have this. I must have this television. I must have this car. All these musts, right? Which is basically programming. So as long as you're programmed, the flame is kind of very dim, or just maybe the smoke never becomes fire. But once when you start dropping thoughts, then the flame arises. And the whole life becomes a flame, and that's the flame without any smoke. And this is what is awareness. Now this is kind of really interesting because, you know, Aquarians also had one more last thing they had to shed, right? Just like you, and you also have control, right? So it is kind of really interesting because check this guy out, right? So this is talking about there is a time and place for control, but you know, when we put control in charge of our lives, we kind of like end up totally rigid, right? So it's just, you know, when you feel like I have to be there on time and you start being really nervous, like in 2 minutes before, you're all freaking out and you just becoming clock Nazi, right? So this is kind of a thing. Nothing will really change because of 1 or 2 or 3 minutes being late. I'm not talking about being disrespectful. Of course, the attention and intention is to basically be on time, but I'm talking about not really losing a sense of basically who a person is. Now, what is really interesting in basically, as you can see, there is a lots of kind of like mandala in the structure. This basically person built all this kind of like walls in like around, and he's almost like mummified inside. And look at the fists, they're clenched, and you know, the stare, look at the stare, it's almost kind of no emotion, right? And look at the lower part of this table, it's almost like a knife point, right? A cutting edge. So when kind of like we see this in Feng Shui, like when you see the sharp edges, it always feels threatening, just like somebody pointing a knife at you, right? So this image of basically this control is reminding us to take a deep breath, loosen, you know, and take it easy. If mistake happens, if you're not on time, that should be okay. So there is much more in life than being on top of things. So you guys, your lesson this entire month is going to be, I know Aries is very first sign, is very kind of energetic. It kind of pushes forward. But look at what you're having as a lesson. Lesson is like to figure out, well, does it really work for you, Aries? Now, I started to shuffle cards and then I stopped, and most of the others are shuffled because this 3 jumped out. Knight of Chalices, Knave of Wands, and the Chariot reversed. So some kind of romance might be coming in, or feeling romantic and feeling passionate. You see, this is all that happens when you clean stuff. Just imagine that feeling when you clean your place and you just really enjoy it, right? It's that sense of feeling free. So this is what's going to happen when you kind of like get this nurturement and perspective and kind of let go of control, because then you are able to come into who you are. The interesting part about that is the Chariot feeling stuck. Yes, you see, kind of it's interesting. The Chariot is combination of these two kind of cards, right? This is kind of feeling stuck, clenching your fist. I must do that, or I must do that. Sort of like a black and white thinking, very kind of fact-oriented thinking. And this is asking you to tear through it, asking you to kind of push through it. So let me finish shuffling these cards and see what the month brings for you. Okay, Aries. Aries from July 23rd to August 22nd, because I'm always going by a sign kind of exchange. Look, you have another 7 coming out. 7 of Pentacles reversed means coming to some kind of crossroads and also realizing what doesn't work. And we are talking about some really small, pragmatic kind of things over here. So just do summer cleaning or winter cleaning if you're in the southern hemisphere. It is time to shed anything that you didn't use for 2 years. All the sentimentality has to go. Somebody else is going to take a good use, and just let it go with love. When you let it go, you know, you're emptying. This cup has been too full, and you know what happens when the cup stays for too long. You get all kinds of cultures developing in there, and it's not a nice sight, and it's also very stinky. So just like apply that to your environment. On my Sapphire Dreams guys channel, you have Clean Your Home from Negativity. All you need to do is either look at it or just play in the background and kind of like it does its work. And the moment when you're lighter, you are able to kind of like tear through and become aware. When you become aware, you become happy, because nothing can actually program you anymore. The moment when it's like in the Mission Impossible, if you remember the first movie, Tom Cruise is putting that tape in and he gets his message, and the message kind of burns and it's never going to go back. That's where you are now at. You are getting a message, you are kind of acknowledging it, getting a perspective, releasing it, and becoming a new you. Okay, Aries. Aries from July 23rd to August 22nd. Okay, I shuffled the other one. Woo, you have the stars. Usually the other decks, this is called a star, but here's the stars. So there is again the healing. There is again, what do I want? There is again about being open to the others, receiving kindness and understanding. We see the control is difficult, because with control you cannot receive kindness, because you always feel, well, you know, is somebody going to take advantage of me, or no good deed goes unpunished. But this is saying, look, literally, this is not selfish. This is really now necessity. Just imagine that you kind of like scratched your arm and you need a band-aid and you need to disinfect it. You will go and ask for it or seek help. This is what is basically talking about, that the healing is taking place. Things are looking up, going up. You know, there is like this connectivity everywhere. This also can talk about lots of messaging and wireless messages happening. What do we have here on the bottom? Unrequited love. I absolutely should actually cover this, because I don't agree with this. So unrequited love doesn't only apply to love life. This can mean anything that we feel it's not achievable, right? It's kind of like we are having this control to get, I need to get this, I don't know, Ferrari. And it's just like you don't get there because it costs so much money. Ultimately, you need to get perspective. I need to get a grip. Like, what am I doing that I need that Ferrari? Because what? One person is going to be so impressed. Who is that person? And do I really want people like that in my life, that they're impressed with something silly like material? And then you get this perspective. In a big scheme of events, I just need a car from point A to point B. And yeah, my little kind of like Pontiac works. So this kind of like means trying to figure out what is that you love. Is this really something that kind of serves you? Okay, so let's see. We have very soon, we have Free Yourself. There you go again. We have Soulmate, Children, Stay optimistic about your love life. Healing family issues. Express your love. Wedding. Yeah, for those of you guys who have strong Aquarius in your chart, just checked Aquarius reading. It has lots of overlaps. Codependency and let go of control issues again. So see, the message you guys are getting is really, really strong. Okay, so let's see what messages we really get here. So what do we have? 9 and 9 and 8. It's kind of a mixed bag this time around. So let's start. This is basically something from the past that you're dragging into the present. It says children, your love life is being affected by children, and then there's like this 9 of Pentacles. So it could be literally children, yours or your partner's, or that you're working with children, that something is standing in a way. Or maybe it's not standing in a way at all. Maybe it is enhancing your love life. And this is a card of self-sufficiency. This is a card of pride. This is a card of enjoyment and looking back at what you accomplished. Maybe you consider children like your success in life. Maybe you consider that your children became a really functioning adults who actually do care about everybody around them and who are really nice human beings. Maybe you think that that whole dedication and sacrifice you did over the years is like finally showing and you're really proud about yourself. Or maybe you became single recently and now you're like a single parent and you're dedicating to your children. This also could mean that your inner child kind of walk up and you realize what is important for you. This is again turning to yourself and checking your own needs. To a point, and this is 9 of Pentacles, to a point, 7 of Cups reversed is telling me that maybe some of these ideas are not really workable. It could be a kind of like dream world, again, that Ferrari, and yet you kind of like still romanticize, and there is this opening. You do have lots of loving energy, and this kind of like is self-oriented, and this is really good. Even though you kind of like maybe know this dreams or some dreams are unrealistic, you're still kind of like indulging in it. It's like nothing wrong as long as you know that 2 feet are on the ground. And this is what it tells me when I have 9 of Pentacles. It is usually really grounded feeling. So what is in the root of this month? There is some issue with a soulmate. It says yes, this is your soulmate, but then I have 3 of Wands, and here in the mirroring position I have 2 of Wands. So now this is kind of the interesting part, because this in the upright position would talk about, you know, doing some kind of investments, kind of putting your merchandise on the ship and actively waiting for your plans to kind of like bear fruit. Here it means something got in your way. Maybe these goals need to be redefined, or maybe you have to redefine who is your soulmate, right? It's just like I have to heal people from that fairy tale syndrome that you're going to have somebody coming into your life who's going to be so perfect, and it never happens for nobody, and hence, you know, everybody just goes around feeling victimized and feeling that somebody else gets it and we don't get it. And this here tells me waiting and waiting and waiting for the right thing. It's kind of weird because I had interesting reaction on my Facebook regarding this card where, you know, where is the line? Is this person picky for rejecting everything that is offered, even something special? Or is this person really waiting for something that is right? So maybe that's what got in a way, that maybe what you assume is a soulmate didn't kind of come out, and you kind of like have a doubt. And look, there is the World reversed. something is not completed, guys, for you. You're still going back to something. You're still kind of like trying to figure out, or maybe you're even stuck into kind of like a vision. This is maybe why you had this card release. Kind of, where do you want to go from here, right? This is kind of like really important. Maybe realize what you really need, because this card here says that you might be picky, that you might be living again in the fantasy world. So think about it. Now, what's going to be happening this month? It says clearly decide what you want, so it comes to you now. And then there's like King of Cups reversed. Phew, this king is not the nicest person reversed, because this is kind of a person that makes us believe in fairy tale, because we have this fairy tale programming, and this person pushes this button. And how? This person appears to be so nice and so loving and such a great listener, and they basically tell us things that we thought, oh my gosh, you know, I just waited for you all my life. And then this person doesn't follow through with everything that has been said, and you're kind of living this nightmare, kind of like questioning yourself, because women are so analytical, and instead of realizing this person is basically who he is. Also, this person could be kind of trying to get you to embrace him or her, kind of in a sense, oh, I'm such a horrible person, I'm just trying to get better, kind of like trying to induce you into, you know, taking care of them. You know, people are adults, they should take care of themselves. And you guys, Aries, like, you always like to step in, you like to protect. Here you have to recognize that, no, this is a month to nurture yourself. So if somebody's action, do not follow what comes out of their mouth, release them. And it says very soon, clearly decide what you want. So it comes to you now, because you see there is like this indecision. Two of Swords reversed. Like here, at least there is like somebody trusting and walking this tightrope, even if it's blindfolded. Making a decision feels better than not making a decision. And here it kind of like feels stuck. It's that inability to make a decision, right? Well, do I want, you know, red Ferrari, or do I want a yellow Ferrari? And all of a sudden you just walk away because you just cannot make this crucial decision. So you see, it is about, now it's a double. It could be somebody you have been involved with already. King of Pentacles to me is a reliable guy, but it also can talk about somebody's husband, somebody's boyfriend. It could be you not willing to be a mate anymore. It could be you that you feel that you're manipulated. However, you're stuck in making this decision to break free. So nurture yourself, and the answers are going to come to you. Things will come in perspective. So it could be that it is basically huge consideration what you want, because if I look this with a soulmate and kind of like being stuck, sometimes when we meet a person, and no matter how long we are with this person, we always go back to the beginning, when we had that honeymoon period, when everything was like so nice, and we kind of rely upon that to carry us through bad times. But also we sometimes foolishly, with that fairy tale syndrome, believe this is what a person is, where this is the personality, and personality means mask. This is the mask we all wear, and this is why they say women always want to change a man. No, actually we don't want to change them. We want them to be who they were in the beginning. Or men don't want a woman to change and she changes. It is exactly the same story, the same coin on the other side. What basically it means is like that we are actually showing something different. We are showing possibly the best version of us. Not even the best version of us, the version we want to be. So we are not being our authentic selves. Because you see here, it is again coming to you, free yourself. It is time to take back control of your life. And all these anxieties, all these musts, all these requests that you have, it's just like fist on the table. It is you, Aries. I know, like, usually generally you don't have problem being assertive, but I think this month it's not going to be assertiveness in the sense of telling somebody off. It's simply going to be, I get it. And you're just going to do what you need to do without announcing it, without making these big kind of proposals. Because you see, these clenched fists are going to release. And look what the difference this makes, right? Also, free yourself from any interference of a third party. I can't see it here, but it looks like something has already happened in the past, and it kind of like felt like a victory, or you might feel by kind of leaving and freeing yourself that somehow, you know, it's going to make somebody feel that you might lose something, or you don't want to give this. This is again the control issue. You don't want somebody else to win. It actually doesn't matter, because look, they are swords. Both of them are 3 swords. You guys need to free yourself. A relationship where you have, I will up you one, or somebody says something which could be constructive criticism, and it's immediately something is being said back. You know, it doesn't have to be tit for tat. So you actually are shedding, these are all kind of thoughts, these are all kind of like this perspective you're actually reaching. Things are getting better, because whatever kind of pain and hurts you had with this 9 of Swords, 5 of Swords, and 10 of Swords, these are the final phases. You are actually releasing it. And just like that card said, this is like what is really going to be the core of your month. So what is crowning you here? Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Maybe you feel a bit like, deflated. Maybe you feel, oh, I'm not getting what I really want. But this is saying, you know what, just stay optimistic, because the moment when you change your perspective, the moment when you change who you are, so, you know, it's going to be completely different. You'll start attracting different people, good people for you. You see, the strength is going to come out. This kind of like really means optimism, means having faith, have infinite faith. I don't know if you can see, this is like one of the 2 cards with this infinity sign in it. And it's really calling for kind of like conquering things in a really quiet way. If you are with a lion in the cage and you have no weapon, like, what is the way that you can get out alive? Really, you really have to be completely collected. You really have to have the inner strength that you kind of really trust that somehow you're going to compose yourself and kind of get results. And here you have the Fool. Look, and this is actually great, because you see this, the first and the last card. So here, by not refusing something to happen and being stuck in some kind of past and holding on to it, because you, like when people hold on to it, you're sending to the universe a feeling, I cannot do better. I just have to go back to it. And the universe keeps saying, you have to let go. It's just the world turns only one way. And you're not letting go. And it's okay, fine. If you really want it, you're going to get stuck, right? So that's why, even though we sometimes have great moments and we never want them to stop, they have to kind of evolve. But it's the same true holds for when we have bad moments, they also will pass, right? So here we have the Fool and the Strength. Wonderful combination. The Fool is like, again, shedding the programming. Fool is like, follow your dreams, find what makes you feel lighter, find what really works for you. Of course, you don't go crazy, because you still have to live in a society, and this is really asking you to find this inside, revisit who you really are without all this programming and all this like should have, must have, you have to do that, etc., right? So you're kind of breaking out. There is like the healing that is taking place, this nurturing. It's with this nurturing yourself, and I don't know what you do. It doesn't have to be lavish nurturing. It doesn't have to be you have to treat yourself a trip to Fiji or Hawaii. It could be something like getting a manicure, getting pedicure, getting, you know, together with your friends, expressing your love to them. And here it's saying your love life become life benefits as you forgive your parents. Sometimes the issues we have go all the way back to that programming that we had. And our parents, generally parents are not mean. They kind of keep transferring, because that's sort of like love for some people, just keeping a legacy. And most times you don't ask yourself, like, why am I following the same political party as my parents? Why am I following in the same ritual as my parents? You have to scratch your head and ask, well, did that really work for them? And most importantly, does it really work for me? So you're actually breaking out. You see, this is the box of getting out. You see this kind of like theme that is kind of like really coming over here in your reading. And look, you do that and you're getting this enormous happiness. You're coming to yourself. Like, this is like that ultimate emotional kind of contentment. It's the feeling when you sit on the beach. You're looking at this ocean, you're looking at the sun, it's the perfect temperature, it's the breeze, you don't really feel any worry. This is the feeling where you're getting by shedding this. It's worth it. Oh, look at this, you have Queen of Chalices, you had a King. So it looks like it could be the mother issue for some of you. For the other of you would be also that something that you have been programmed that you were really adhering to maybe cost you your relationship, maybe cost you becoming too emotional, too reactive, or you made others to be too emotional and too reactive. So it is kind of like breaking out from your head and getting into your heart. This is kind of like what the month is calling for. To a point, you see, you'll be stuck. You still have to work on how to express love. It says go ahead and make the romantic gesture, but then you have this Knight of Pentacles, which is like, ugh, you know, you're moving on this kind of like goat, and the goat doesn't really go very far, but you're at least, again, absorbing. And this is the nurturing, like, you know, eating the grass, checking things around you, being in touch with the nature. And there you go. It's asking for the moderation. Temperance is actually, it's saying that everything happens for a reason. Everything has, you know, a time and place. And it's showing up here. So you have to go through this process slowly. And look, you with healing yourself, you guys, oh my gosh, you're releasing so much stagnant energy, and you're getting into this happiness. Look, you have the 10 of Cups, you have here 2 of Cups, you have Temperance. So you're kind of like balancing your emotions, and you're getting this soulmate feeling. And this actual love can also be a huge amount of self-love. When we have the self-love without being, let's call it the celebrity self-love, which is a worship of some kind of like self-imposed importance. No, this is like what I'm talking is, look, you're willing to reach out to people, but also you know that you cannot reach out if you are not kind of comprehensive, if you are not true to yourself. So this is kind of breaking out, but this also could mean meeting a soulmate. And you will meet somebody who maybe you're going to feel inadequate, maybe you're going to feel it is not going very far, but at the same time, trust me, it is, because this means this is the right person. It's the right time, it's the right place. And why? Because you are becoming a different person. So you know that what they say, like, keep doing the same things and expecting different results, is a definition of insanity. Yes, it's true, but there is a little kind of like modification. If you change yourself and if you change your energy, and basically what's going to change is how you react. This is what's going to get you completely different results for you guys, for letting go of that control, becoming aware of what is real, what is wrong. You're actually shedding all these kind of things and getting like the ultimate prize. And look, this goes from soulmate to wedding, and this is your environment. It says the situation involves marriage. It could be your own marriage, guys, because this King and Queen, it could be actually some kind of separation. And this is your card, the Emperor. So when Emperor is reversed, it talks about too much rigidity, too much control. It's kind of like, again, it's the vision you have, how things should be. And because this is in the environment, this basically tells me that that tapes and the programming that you have, the scripts that we play, are extremely strong on you. And look, this is like that Aries tape that you have. You have to be strong. You have to do that. Yeah, you know what, guys? You're also allowed to fall. And this is saying to me, either, you know, you are going through possible divorce, you are possibly having marriage on your mind, or, you know, there is some kind of involvement in someone who maybe has who is either involved with somebody or who hasn't cleared their own situation, and hence there is attempt to control, right? The control is appearing again, and you have to just break out. Look, you have a knight, so here you feel stuck, and you feel stuck when maybe you meet somebody who kind of like resonates, and then you will still move forward. People are telling you, just, you know, don't hold on to this. You have to keep going with this enthusiasm. So this is all fire energy. It's all your energy. Yeah, this is talking about divorce. This is talking about some kind of breakup. It's talking about moving away from it. And I think your friends, which basically you got their nurturing, will actually really support you and give you this newfound passion, right? So here we go. We have in your hopes and fears codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life, and this is like where the nurturing is going to take place. You're going to basically say, listen, you know, I'm not going to allow some other person to kind of like, you know, direct my life. I really am going to conquer. I'm going to conquer myself, and I'm doing this by nurturing myself. So here is like Queen of Swords is also saying, look, you have to shed fear. And it's actually really easy for you this month. Literally by nurturing yourself, everything is start to fall into place. And there you have the karma card. Clean the house. Again, it's release, release, release. Release people, release places, release. You know, if you want to quit smoking, you have to quit all your friends that smoke. If you want to lose weight, you just cannot have cupboards full of cookies. This is talking about that. Come on, like put things in perspective, right? And there we go, look, Queen of Pentacles, so that's double. Like you had King of Pentacles, and so twice the information. The person you have been with, the person that you keep thinking about the past, maybe this is the problem of moving forward because you're still stuck with the past. So the release is important, this cutting off is important. And so just be careful not to react on someone, because it's interesting, you have two queens and you had two kings, right? It's interesting because this is something that didn't work for you, and you were continuing through the emotions, being reliable, and it is time to cut it off. Because you see, look, again, let go of control issues, allow the situation to unfold naturally. Otherwise you'll continue being stuck in the cold. You continue not to be nourished. You continue getting unlucky second karma card, unlucky kind of situations, feeling controlled. You see, you're controlling because you feel controlled. And it's kind of interesting, once when you release it, and look, you're actually going to do nothing. When this happens, when you start controlling things, the control kind of you get a pushback, and then nothing is happening. You just get more and more frustrated. So these cards are going to all reverse. Hopefully this one will disappear, because this one means really thinking through it, seeing things from a different perspective. But in this case, I think for you, it means kind of like, who am I? Like, where am I going, right? This is the card of this like new push of really kind of like figuring out things that are important for you. So Aries, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, 43 minutes. So I'm going to do and put the Lenormand on the table, and for you it's going to be second, for me it's going to be a few minutes. So I'm going to do a full grand tableau, which is 32 cards. So you're going to see a little bit kind of general and situational spread for this month for you. All right, guys, this is the Lenormand part. So for those of you who actually didn't see this reading, this is a grand tableau, meaning like the entire basically life is kind of rearranged. So it kind of creates a unique combination, and there are two significators, and even though they are kind of gender kind of like divided, either or can be you, and I'll give you kind of both storylines. Here's the lady and here's the gentleman. So one can be you, another one can be possibly a person you're inquiring, or somebody kind of like you had in your life. So interestingly, I am getting recently a lot the cross and the coffin together. So something really karmic is happening for some of you, something that is so important, and something that is coming from the past. So this is the same thing, releasing the past, moving forward to the future, something new, something unknown, something that's going to make you very happy, but also something that is going to be an obstacle in itself. Some of you may, this relates to your job, and maybe you're going to become or becoming entrepreneurial. So it could be something related to nursing, it could be something related to travel. However, you're going to be very dedicated. This kind of whole new project is going to give you so much hope, and it is after going through this kind of like releasing that you have. So the cross is karma, releasing something that has to be dead, and you're rebuilding yourself here entirely, because you just came from the past where you kind of question your own health. You kind of like felt a little bit foggy, maybe even question your own actions, right? Because the clouds create that fog, right? That kind of, why am I wearing this cross? But most people understand that karma is really not going like, well, if I do good, I'd get good. Yeah, but also we kind of like sign a soul contract. So it's like a school lesson for ourselves. And guess what? We gotta do this, right? So we come to this life, we sometimes drop balls, and then we continue living lives to kind of like fulfill all these kind of things we kind of like dropped along the path. So all these people that come to us are soulmates, and there are millions of them. And karmic soulmates, which you are currently going through, is the person who says, wait a minute, you kind of like took a left turn, you have to go back. These are the lessons you need to learn. So this is what is happening to you right now. Whatever is happening to you right now is something that you wrote in your soul contract. It is something from the past that is like reappearing. For those of you in Northern Hemisphere, it is something that stems back to the winter. And for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, it is something that could involve grandparents, could involve some involvement of the people. It could also involve somebody with gray hair or salt and pepper hair. There are some kind of secrets that are getting unraveled, and you are becoming you're becoming a new you, like the rider. Like, it's kind of interesting because you have this nurturing perspective and release, right? And you're the very first sign of zodiac. So now having this rider right here above you, right, it basically talks about some kind of new things and moving forward. It can also indicate a visitor if you're looking for someone, right? It could indicate a completely new love interest, but given that it's combined with lilies, it could be somebody old becoming new, if you know what I mean, somebody from the past. And it kind of like would relate to what we've seen in your tarot, right? It's kind of really hard for you to let go. Something has died, and it may be revived, and it's going to go back into this mountain again. And usually that happens when you kind of romanticize people, and maybe this is the last time you're dealing with this because you need to put an end. You need to kind of cut the cord, karmic cord. You have learned that lesson, you have fulfilled your contract, you're letting go. And this is exactly what you're doing. You're releasing it, and you are pushing it into your new directions. For this other significator, again, there is that this could be a person in your life who is dealing in terms of finances. What do I do? How do I position myself? This person is not in the best shape. Person is feeling maybe depressed, a little bit lost. It could be some kind of legality. Certain things are being cut in this person's life, and something new that this person started is also not going to get grounded, not at this time. But at the same time, it looks like on several kind of levels, it could be the family life that got affected and that's kind of left behind. It could be, you know, that is a kind of financial consideration on a new project. Having said that, overall energy is really good. It might be some kind of traveling for you guys this month. You have the core of the reading amazing. You have the heart, the sun, the ship, the stars, the bouquet, the bear, the moon. Really, really positive. Everything but the mountain. So you are getting to this last obstacles. Hi, Chef, Chef. Chef, Chef. Say hi. No. Do you love Aries? Do you love Aries? No? Why? What did they do to you? Hey, Aqua Girl. Yeah, she loves you, trust me. She's just like being like a pain in the kitty butt, right? So you guys need to resolve some last kind of like piece of the puzzle. That's why I kept saying to you, you kind of have very interesting mission, because you're sign number 1. Aquarius is sign 11, so 1-1, right? So they might have a little bit kind of like more intense message, but you also have almost like that need to move forward. It is absolutely, where do you go from here? So it is really important to nurture yourself. It is very, very important to figure out who you really are, because this mountain, when it hits, you have to know how to overcome barriers. This can also be coldness from the other people. It could be challenges, because there is this crossroad, like where do I go from here, right? And you are going to find that you're going to dedicate yourself to some kind of people who have been loyal to you all along the way. This also can talk about stubbornness, and we do know who I'm talking to, right? And you see, you have the Rider. So right now, for many of you, you're going to feel this new zest, a new passion. And then if you're running the obstacle, just be ready, because this is that perspective, right? Climbing the mountain, the higher up you're on the mountain, the higher you get, you know, this perspective. So the mountain kind of slows things around, and this is also slow things. So you are going also through your process, and it's something really karmic. And some of you really, really want to put the anchor down. You kind of like really want to commit. There is everything there. You're going to get this soulmate. It is happening, guys, in a big way. And this could be somebody who is long distance. So next, I'm going to do the Gypsy for you. So we're going to see, this is more kind of situational. Gypsy is more emotional, and Tarot is more spiritual. So I'll be back in a second. All right, guys. So this is also Grand Tableau. It is called Gypsy or Vera Sibilla. So it has many more significators. For those of you who basically are not familiar with it, I'll just show you. There is a sweetheart, which can represent single women. But again, gender is kind of like very fluid. It's just like something that we chose as a vessel, so anybody can be here. I'll be giving you the various combinations. There's the Lord, which can represent somebody kind of like who is very stoic, who is maybe a professional, but also somebody who is married or in a relationship, right? Then we have Lover, which can indicate a guy who is single, I mean, or single ladies, right? So somebody who's still kind of like very willing to woo somebody, let's put it this way. Then we have Wife, which can be a married person, a person in a relationship, or can be just simply a person with children, right? We have Young Woman, who can represent younger ladies, or who can represent a child. Then we have Foe, which could be a rival or an enemy, and we literally have enemy. Where is enemy here? Here. So this is also being, it's also read differently. So the very last two cards are bottom of the deck. You have Consolation and Priest. So again, I'm seeing actually the end for some of you, especially, you know, for those of you who are involved with someone. It's kind of really weird, because I really hope there is like not an actual death, because I have a widower and death right next to each other, and then Doctor. It's like for both. It could be ladies, it could be like your partner that is maybe ending something. and you are joyful about it. I know it's kind of horrible thing, but it was some kind of secret, and you kind of felt something has been taken away from you and kind of like brought you this feeling of disaster. And I think mostly what happened was the third person, and you guys really continued to hope. You kind of went through possible counseling or some energy work, or just talking to some kind of wise friends to reconfigure, because you had the rider there, you have a journey here. So again, it's this karma that is happening. It's a repeat. So what are the chances? 52 cards, 32 cards, and 78 cards, all of them are coming to the same. So what I see here is, again, it's a return of the partner. It is something old that is becoming new. See, there is reunion over here, but it's not going to be really smooth, even though, like, I mean, some of you are going to get love messages and conversation, especially those of you who maybe have an on and off relationship, who kind of like start feeling guarded over certain things, maybe trying to protect your own family. So some of you might get pregnant. Again, you have to have your friends to help you, and kind of you have to be faithful to you, because then you are able to shed all these issues. For those of you, you see, you have the issue here of a prison, which is right next to money and room. So some of you are feeling stuck, maybe in a relationship that is not going anywhere, right? Maybe you feel like you're lacking cheerfulness. Maybe you feel everything that you're doing is fake. Maybe you feel you're stuck into this kind of marriage, right? And it should be something else. It should be a happier occasion. And you'll be turning to your friends, and you'll be turning to possibly a revival of everything. Like, you see how you have this haughtiness, like this, like, I mean, peacock. So it looks like you're not going to just give up. You're going to, again, it's releasing. It's going to be something that's going to precipitate some really good things happening. Something good is going to come out of it. It's going to be a tint of somebody lying to you. It's going to be something that's going to make you sad. I think it's going to be some kind of secret that's going to come out, something that is really hitting you in the gut, some kind of intimacy. You're going to find something that is like really, really deeply secretive about some lies, and you will really think about it, how to proceed with this and what you really want. And I really believe it was about also some possible cheating or something. But you still have this deep love, and you still have this deep trust, and you still want to communicate, right? And it was something that really made you really sick in the past. And maybe some of you are just reworking your relationship. Maybe you just got back together with somebody recently. For the others of you, you need to, again, like, you know how we had, you need to bury certain things. You need to kind of put them in perspective. You need to release things and nurture yourself. So you really, I see here, there is like this awareness happening. The death in the reading is like, yeah, things like this cannot continue, you see. But this death is linked to this reunion and love. So again, you're not letting something go, and by not letting go, you're not able to get this. So you just have to trust that this is right in front of you. So again, I see somebody old becoming somebody new, but this somebody new is going to behave completely differently. It's going to be almost like friend. It's going to be very transparent, and it's going to be founded on the right principles, right? Because it looks like you're putting an end on feeling jealous or wondering why certain things happen, and this is just not servicing you anymore. You're kind of shedding this out of your life, and you just kind of want to be true to yourself. So guys, let me recap. You looks like you're coming to being yourself. You are shedding those programming tapes, and you're shedding this control. That's the programming. And you're realizing, wait a minute, this programming was like from 1987, from 1974 and this is like 2017. This doesn't work for me anymore. I'm a different person. You know, every 7 years we switch every cell we have in our body, and we are a completely new person. The only thing that stays with us is spirit. So it is also time to kind of shift that as well. So I have also pulled 2 cards for you here as well to kind of seal this reading, and it was like so lovely. It's magic stream and intention, and both of them came in the upright kind of position. So here it is. Everything is connected through the universal flow of consciousness. Every experience you have seems to have its own life story, with a beginning, a middle, and eventually an end. There is a danger in seeing, am I reading the proper thing? However, there is a danger in seeing events as separate from one another, since in fact they are in part of a continuity and a greater evolution. Like an ever-flowing magic stream, your experiences filter through the whole world, one leading into another, informing and influencing still more. Inspiration, invention, and revelations rarely come to just one person. The collective awareness is a shared storehouse of potential. When you remember you're part of the fluid continuity of life, you become a channel for great inspiration. Allow the magic to flow through you and carry your dreams into reality. Your success will benefit many. So see, not only, so see, this is the fear, oh my gosh, if I change, I'm not going to be liked, I'm not going to be loved, they're going to leave me, where it's like, oh, I have to have this Pontiac, I have to have this Pontiac, how will I get to work? And yet somebody's waiting with the keys for Ferrari. And so just let go, guys. And look, then you get a 22. So this is 9. Let go. Magic stream. It's happening. It's kind of cleaning you, right? And then we have this intention. It says deliberate, clear intentions. Remember, you had very soon in tarot, so it's a repetition. But 22 is a master number. It's calling you to a much higher message. It says you have power to change your world. Your objectives will be fulfilled at this time. Inspired intentions are like magic arrows shot into the sky. The universe is bringing you a gift, showing you that you're hitting your mark. Recognize that you are not the one who has to do all the work. However, others help you co-create reality. So get your friends help you. You connect to the power of your intention, sending it out into the field, then allow your synchronicity to work its magic. Perhaps the good intentions of others will inspire you to send out beautiful ones on your own. Own the life you want to lead and live deliberately with clarity and detachment. So you guys are also ascending. You're coming back to your soul purpose. You are recognizing what you're meant to be. And you're rebelling. With rebelling in a good way. Once when you come to be who you are, you're actually able to influence others just by the energy that you're going to emanate. So good work, guys. So please give me your comments. I really highly value that. And also, I really appreciate if you subscribe, like, and, you know, participate on the Facebook. Thanks very much for putting up with such a long reading. And I really, really hope you guys have a wonderful month. For your personal readings and to kind of like get this overview for yourself, contact me through my website. Thank you very much. I love you.